I'm right back with another video. It's 9:21 a.m. It is December 21st, Saturday morning, and I am going to run errands today. Um, so I'm just kind of waiting around. It looks like it's kind of dark outside today, and um, I'm not really doing anything major. Mainly my issue is just to get out of the house. I might stop off at the park on the other side of town, and then I might run into a dollar store. That's pretty much the extent of it. Not much planned today, but I'm just committed to getting out of the house. Like, I shouldn't be stuck in the house. It's not good for me. So I've been thinking a lot about, my issue, and everything is so tossed up in the air, mainly because of what was caused by this whole issue relating to gang stalking. And so I'm trying to make decisions. But like I said, it's very hard to make decisions when you know that these people were doing things to you, manipulating things. So you can't really, because their goal is that they want you to work their jobs. They want you to do their things. And your goal is to get as far away from these people as you possibly can. So it's hard to make decisions because you're trying to make sure that they understand that you don't want any more of their garbage and whatever. So I mentioned, like, on Monday I went to go visit my mom, and I talked to her for a little bit, and then I also talked to my ex-sister, and me talking to my mom does not mean that I want to have a relationship with my siblings, and that means all of them. And really, it's just because at this point, when I realize the abuse that took place, and then the reason why, and the fact that they are willing to allow me to shoulder the burden of what they've done, that I see it necessary for me to sever ties with them. If I go visit my mom again, that really doesn't have anything to do with me, or doesn't. It's not a statement saying that I want to be back in the family. Like, I don't want to be a part of the family. This has caused me so much pain in so many different ways, and so I'm just cutting them off. I'm just doing that. As far as what I'm going to do, like I said, that's up in the air. I know that I need to start working towards getting out of this stagnant phase that I'm in right now, and I need to make sure that I can stand up on my own 2 feet, and that's really the focus of my main focus right now. I will say that I have thought a lot about, what happened over the last few years and what led up to this entire thing, and it disturbs me that someone would do something like this. Like, this is, like, I'm not okay with it. I'm disturbed by it. Like, it literally makes me ill. It's that disturbing that somebody would do something like this to anybody, but I'm the one who's experiencing it. So anyway, I wanted to talk about my feelings towards marriage, and one of the reasons why, my main reasons why, is because I understand that I've been living in a bubble. Like my family has been, like, invading my space for the longest time, and I've come into contact with people that have always been, like, probably in cahoots with my family. Okay. And my issues relating to marriage is, like, I've been looking at different people's relationships for a very long time. And I know a lot of people struggle in marriage, okay? It's not something that appeals to me. It just doesn't. It doesn't appeal to me. It's not something that comes to my mind. I'm very well aware of the fact that I'm 48 years old. I see that. I know that. Some people are like, well, what about your biological clock? I'm way past that. Even when I was still at the age where my biological clock was functioning well, and I already had my son, so it's like I don't have any plans to have any more children. I really don't. And the way I look at the world, my view of the world Just my personal view of the world, okay? I'm not saying this is how women should be, or I'm not saying this is how everybody should take on this attitude, because I'm not. That would be foolish, okay? We need people on this earth in order to survive, okay? That would be weird if everybody felt the way that I do. But for me, I personally see that there's a lot of unfair things that go on in this world. So I'm not going to sit here and put out another human being on purpose, okay? I just do think the world is entirely too wicked, and I would prefer not to do that. Okay. Aside from that, it's just like I don't, I have very strange views. Not strange views. They're based on fact. Okay. But for me, based on what I've gone through in my life, I know people would think, well, then that's what you need, because you never had the sort of love and care from your family and blah, 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 blah. So then you need a romantic relationship that's going to give you all the fulfillment and it's going to make up for all the bullshit that you went through. That's not going to happen. Okay. That would be putting a lot on an individual. Like, you have to make up for all this shit. Nobody's going to be able to fill that void. That is a unrealistic expectation to put on anybody. So I get tired of people like being fixated on it. I know what I want in life. Okay, what I want in life. I was being realistic. It's like I know that romantic relationships for me are not something that I want to put my full attention on. It's not that I don't want to. I think the idea of loving someone is great. But it's not something that I want to fill my entire life. And I don't like the idea of institutionalized marriage. When I'm talking about institutionalized marriage, where, weird people, very weird people, start thinking that they have certain privileges and certain rights over me. Because then that's when I'm opening myself up to abuse. So I have good reasons for not wanting to get married. I just do, okay? So, and I know a lot of people don't understand it, but it makes sense to me. So another reason why is because my family has been known to infiltrate. Like, my environment is surrounded by their, representatives, their spies or whatever. And, oftentimes when you are a target, they will send what they call honey traps, honey pots, whatever. That's a term that was used in cases of like, spying. Like the spies will send, like, for example, if there's a person a man, let's just say a man lives in the neighborhood and people want to know about him, right? They see that he's single and they want to know what makes him tick. So they want to send people over into his life, right? Because they want to get in, they want to be able to have somebody who goes into their house, speak to them. What kind of things do they do? What they want to know their habits and stuff like that. So they will send like friends, and oftentimes they will even use people to pose as romantic partners. Now, as absurd as this sounds, and how emotionally devastating that would be if a person realized that this person had no interest in them at all. Only the reason why they're involved with them in their life is because they are spying for someone else. And as absurd as that sounds, if people will manipulate your employment, you best believe they will manipulate your so-called love life. Okay? Because this is a very sick form of control that a person has. And so I don't want to have to put myself in a position where I'm opening myself up to further abuse. That's just one of the issues why marriage doesn't appeal to me. Okay, I have my other reasons why marriage doesn't appeal to me, but that's one. Yes, I was willing to give Stephen Lyles, the opportunity, because I find Stephen Lyles attractive. And I've thought about, when I was younger, I remember liking him a lot. And this whole issue that got stirred up, I was like, well, then why don't we get to see each other? Because I think he's a good-looking guy. I don't care what's going on up here, because let's face it, most people don't really have a bunch going on up here. Okay, and from what I see, he has enough. I don't know his whole background, and really, it's probably not for me to know. But the thing is, Maria's fine on her own. I'm not sitting here. Believe me, the reason my loneliness is that I really do long for female friendships. You know what I mean? I long for that. I long for, and I'm not a dyke. I'm not a lesbian. It's just that I feel like, I miss having female communication, talking about certain things, and having those bonds. So that's a nice thing. I like that. You know what I mean? And I feel completely satisfied with that. That's really all I need. You know, so I get tired of people like being overly fixated about that. You know, I don't like the idea of marriage mainly because of the kind of grabby abuse that sometimes women have to endure in marriage. And I'm not saying that all women are. Some people love their families. Their families are normal. They listen to each other. They communicate. They respect boundaries. But a lot of people don't. In fact, they don't even consider the fact that you even have your own opinions, your own likes, your own needs, wants, or whatever. It's all about what it's about. Let me just walk all over a person, you know. And I'm not one of those people who doesn't think for themselves. I think for myself. Okay, when I know I'm being abused or somebody's taking advantage of me, when I recognize that, it took me a long time to recognize what my family was doing to me because everything's at a distance. It's all done covertly, okay? But once I know, now I know, then I'm going to do what I can to make it stop. Okay? But when you are, sometimes, you know, like, for example, I had no idea that, you know, Joel and his mom were like that. Or that his mom had this, like, weird, I had no idea, okay? But I walked into something that could have been very dangerous. You know what I mean? Could have been even dangerous if we were all living in the same roof. You know what I mean? I have no idea. That to me is like, ooh, that's scary. That's some scary shit, right? Marriage for someone like me who has no close family ties. I don't have any close family ties. I don't. You know what I mean? I have my son. Okay, he's a certain age. Okay, he can only do so much. All right. My siblings, I wouldn't trust my siblings if they are willing to manipulate your work. Okay, and then cheat you and abuse you outright in the public. These people don't care about you. They don't. They care very little. If they're going to put your house under surveillance and allow people to listen in on your personal life, they do not see you as a human being. Okay? So I would not trust these people. All right? So I'm a woman all by herself. I'm a woman all by herself. I don't have time to play with my life. You know, or get involved with a man in a relationship, and then all of a sudden he wants to take control of my employment, and then he can beat me, he can do all kinds of stuff to me, and I better not try to leave, and if I try to leave, I will get fired. So now I'm really fucked. You know what I mean? I'm stuck in a marriage that was going to, you know, even be worse for me. I'm using my head. Okay? I'm using my head. I'm not thinking with my heart like a lot of people. See, a lot of people look at me and they think, you know, I don't, and I know what they think. They think, she dresses nice. She's a nice girl. The people who start to realize that I'm not that fucked up weirdo that, you know, people have been painting me out to be. Okay, I'm not. But people who know me or who get to see me and get a chance to, they're like, she's a nice girl. Why doesn't she want to get married? She's such a nice girl. You know, she takes good care of herself. She can make somebody happy. I know the things that go on in their mind, okay? They think she should be with somebody. You know, in an ideal world, you know, where everything ends up like a Walt Disney film, then that would be great, right? It would make sense, right? But we don't. We live in a very chaotic world where people are selfish and run over you. They will abuse you financially, emotionally, every single which way they can. Okay, I'm well aware of that. Okay, very few people care about people. When you get down to it, people don't give a fuck. Okay, so I know this, and I'm trying to take care of myself. It's not about rebelling against society. I'm not rebelling against society. I can assure you I'm not. Okay, it's not rebellious for a woman to say, I choose to stay single. It is not rebellious in any way, shape, or form. Thank you. Oh, sorry about that. It is, I'm not the mailman. Anyway, it's not rebellious for a woman to say, I don't want to get married. Okay? It's not trying to be, you know, trendy. You're not trying to make a statement. You're trying to protect your goddamn self. Is what it is. And that's all it is. You know? And for these overly romantic, especially women, okay? They think, gosh, you know, how could you not love that? I think everybody likes the idea of love. It's you know, I mean, I've never been a love fanatic like some people who like I said, the Harlequin books, romantic movies. I never really rarely watched romantic movies. I think I saw The Thornbirds when I was younger. And I think the reason why the movie appealed to me is because it was kind of a scandal in that story. And it wasn't because I was watching it, it was my mom was watching it. And so back in the day, like when people had like one or two TV sets in their home instead of all this convenience that we have now, what your family was watching, you were pretty much watching, or you had to share like TV time or whatever. So my mom would watch certain things, and I would watch them. I remember watching those Debbie Reynolds movies, where like Tammy movies. Oh God, now those were cute, and I think maybe I liked them so much because of the clothes and all the style that was going on in the back. Those are great too. I will say that the one particular scene that she had on the roof with that dude was actually beautiful. Okay, I really did like Tammy movies. Okay, cute. She was cute. She had her cute little clothes on. Her eyes were always starry and shit like that. Yeah, that's sweet stuff, okay? But people will fucking run over you in real life, okay? They will do it, okay? And when you are married, they will feel entitled to do it. So I'm very careful. And whether I was married or not, Maria still has to work. You know what I mean? Like I said, I know there's a lot of women out there. There are some gold diggers in this world, okay? There are some women who are looking for men, and they want them to take care of them. And there's nothing really wrong with that. Really, there's nothing. Especially if they're going to raise a family, and she wants to stay home, and she wants to be a part of the kid's life, and stuff like that. There's a certain order, and it makes sense, okay? I'm not bashing that, not necessarily. But there are some women who are just straight up gold diggers, okay? They are gold diggers, and they don't mind, a guy working and taking care of her and whatever. There's not too much wrong with that, really, if that's what you want to do. But then there's some people who are willing to, abuse their husbands verbally if he doesn't get them everything. You know what I mean? So there's selfish people. People are in it for their own reasons, whatever the case is. But for me, my issue is that marriage isn't. I can't sit there and think that marriage is like this, magic potion, or it's a solution to my problems. In fact, it could introduce me into more problems. Okay? I'm not thinking with my heart. I'm thinking with my head. Which is what I've been doing all this time. Okay? So yeah. It's important that Maria gets back on her feet. It's important that Maria, I like talking about myself in third person. It's cute, but anyway, silly. But anyway, Maria wants to get back on her feet. Maria wants to get herself stable without dealing with drama relating to her ex-family and then all these other things. So that's my issue right now. My issue is that, I don't like people over speculating about my marriage, my married life, or my love life, or whatever. I really don't, and I resent the fact that it would even be brought up, especially in employment issues, because it's like, it's nobody's business. You know what I mean? It's no one's business. When you go to a job, I'm getting hired to do whatever function or the multiple functions that I'm supposed to do, whether that be, whatever the kind of work I'm supposed to do, general office work, whatever you want to call it. Okay, that's what I get hired for. Okay, not because I should be, not because for potential marriage mates or anything like that. You know what I mean? I will tell you, in the work, when it comes to work, coworkers and stuff like that, the older I get, the more I realize how important it is to keep things professional. Keep it professional. Okay? And it protects you, and it protects the company, but it protects the employee as well. You know what I mean? I don't look for people for romance at work. I don't. I really don't. And it's better not to. You know what I mean? So today I'm just kind of waiting for the right time for me to step out and do some light, what do you call it, dollar store shopping. What did I do at the dollar store a few days ago when I was kind of happy? I got some earrings at the dollar store. Now, mind you, I like to collect earrings. Okay, it's a hobby of mine. All right, And I saw these at the dollar store, and I don't. Okay, here's the thing about cheap jewelry. Okay, when people buy gold or silver, which I will tell you, that's very. I don't have that. I have very little silver in I'm not somebody who has a shitload. I'm not materialistic. I know people think that, but I'm not. Most of the things that I have are like, what do they call it? Costume jewelry, cosmetic jewelry. It's not like stuff that you go get at a jewelry store, like a specific jewelry store. They're just people. Some people have like the ability to do beadwork, stuff like that. And like if you go to flea markets or something, you'll see the people selling their unique items that are not necessarily made of materials like gold, silver, and some of the odd stones like amethyst or sapphire, emeralds. Okay, I would say those things are like really expensive. I've never owned anything like that. I've seen women wear stuff like that, and I think it's really nice on them, especially if how dainty you are. Like you got small little dainty hands and stuff like that. It looks great. Okay, but I like things like beadwork. I like things like shapes, stuff like that, and those are the little things that I like to collect. Right. So I went to the dollar store. And I don't typically look for earrings at the dollar store because it's the dollar store, okay? I mean, some things can be kind of tacky, but I thought these were cute. I thought these were very, very cute. Where I'll wear them, it doesn't matter, you know what I mean? But I just thought, hey, they're $1. I like the shape of them, and I grabbed them, And no, that doesn't mean that I'm artistic. No, it doesn't mean that I would wear it to work in a formal, office setting. It means that that's the shit that I like to do on my off time. That's what it means, okay? So don't get them confused. Just because Maria wears a hat on her days off doesn't mean she's doing it at work. Just because Maria's wearing a little skirt here like this doesn't mean she's wearing it. And when I say little skirt, it's going up below my knee. It's decent, okay? It doesn't mean she's doing this. There are certain things for every occasion. You see what I'm saying? So anyway, I got that at the dollar store. So I'm just trying to waste time, because I realize it's not a good thing for me to stay in this house for very long. It can actually lead to more depression, and my depression is still because of the fact that these people abused me for the length of time that they did, okay? And the very fact that their attitude, they'd rather save face, they'd rather, allow you to walk away thinking that you did something wrong because I didn't do anything wrong. These people have been invading my workspace for a very long time. These people have been making decisions on my life for a very long time. And it got to the point of where it became unbearable and I couldn't deal with it anymore. So I had to say something, and I had to make videos because my previous employers were not aware of this as being an abuse issue. They must have never even considered the fact or even understood maybe why is this all secret? Why is, her family manipulating her and she's able to, she doesn't have a say in what she does. She doesn't have any privacy. All this stuff's going on. This is why. Okay, I had to say something because it was getting to the point of where I feel as though it's getting dangerous. Okay, and so that's why. Usually I'm a pretty cool person. I understand that people do things, they make mistakes, or whatever. But this was just all outright abuse for decades, and so I had to say something. It was getting to that point. So I am dealing with the fact that all of this got started, and I suffered tremendously for something that I had nothing to do with. And I didn't deserve it. I didn't deserve to be picked on at every place that I ever went. I don't have to justify why I choose to live my life the way that I want to. I think in the fact that, my ex-brother-in-law used his white privilege to abuse me. That is a very sick, twisted thing. And then my siblings were willing to see all this shit played out for their own personal reasons. That's a very sick family dynamic. It's a sick and twisted family dynamic. Okay? One that could have been fatal. So I needed to say something. You know? And so the very fact that they would do something like this prevents me from ever having any sort of bond with them. You know? And that's just how it is. So, anyway, gonna wrap up this video. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Don't speculate about Maria's love life, okay? I'm not like that. I'm not like that. You know, I don't know what's going to happen with Stephen Laws. I'm assuming that I probably won't ever see him again. And I think that maybe there's an issue that he feels very strongly about that I may not agree with or like, you know? And so that could have something to do with the fact that why he doesn't ever come around or answer my text or whatever. I don't know. But I knew that he's involved in it. I know it. I believe it from my soul. I can't quite explain why, but I do believe that. Just because of all the timelines and things that have happened, it all makes sense that somehow or another he's involved in it. But no, I mean, just, you know, how do you say mind your own business without being rude? Maria's okay. Don't worry about Maria. Take care. Bye-bye.